On June 19th, 2024, Tom Foster, a historian and friend of Longhorn Paranormal, suddenly passed away. Tom dedicated his life to history and telling the great stories of Arizona, and through the years we grew close to him and partnering and working with him on many historical projects. Never before have we released the full interview that we had with Tom at the Gila County Jail or the history of Kingsley Olds. And so now, in honor of Tom Foster, a legend in his own mind, we release this video, and we hope you enjoy the history and a small piece of Arizona.
We are here with Tom Foster, and Tom is part of the historian team here and director of different events here in Loeb. So Tom wanted to come in and give us an interview and tell us a little bit about the Gila County Jail and more specifically about Kingsley Olds, which is one of his favorite people to study. Welcome, Tom. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Jennifer. Nice to be here. So, to begin with, the jail, built in 1910. It was built as the Yuma Territorial Prison was closing, and Florence was being built in state prison. It was really built more like a military prison than just your regular old county jail. Lots of poured concrete, lots of steel, reinforced. The bars are reinforced, have extra additions to them, so it was really not that easy to saw through them. You can look at some of the systems later for the poly jail cell operating system. Lots of fail safes. So once things were closed down and locked, they were closed down and locked. So really a nice system. They're still in business. Unfortunately, there was a fire. Isn't there always fires?
Always a fire.
So all their historic records, or most of them, are gone. But there's a lot of historic jails still in North America and the United States that have poly systems, including one in Holbrook. And of course, Holbrook, Arizona was home to the Hash Knife Gang. There was a lot of stuff going on in Holbrook. Back in the 1880s and 1890s, a lot of shootouts, a lot of bad guys hung out there. That jail is still there, although it's not in operating condition now, as some parts exist.
Okay.
So there's that. Now, with Kingsley, interesting case. It's late June, and it's 1911. And of course, the jail here is new. And there was a rancher miner that was partners with Kingsley Olds, Wesley Gosware. And there was some equipment that needed to be delivered to Horseshoe Bend. It's about 21, 25 miles from here. It's still a rough road to try to even get out there on the Salt River. And so Wesley has two young daughters, Myrtle and Lulu. And it's hot, and they want to go swimming in the Salt River. And so Kingsley, a trusted friend and associate, okay, well, they're taking the wagon with this equipment, and the girls, please, Dad, can we go? Can we go? Well, yeah, okay. So Kingsley grabs a shotgun and puts a pocket full of shells ready to go. And they go out to Horseshoe Bend. Well, it's getting dark. The girls don't come back. Nobody comes back. They go out looking. I think this is around the 24th of June. It's towards the end of June. And they find a blanket at Horseshoe Bend, partially eaten lunch. They find a shotgun, blood all over the rocks and no girls. So they find Kingsley several miles away. And finally, in looking for the girls, one of the girls comes up to the surface in the Salt River. There's a very deep pocket out there that has sort of a shelf on it, so it's really deep. She comes up to the surface, they look for the other girl, and finally they find her, and she comes up. They're both drowned. So they find Kingsley several miles away, and he has a shotgun blast, a wound to his face. So part of his jaw's blown off, part of his tongue's gone, he can't talk, he's delirious. When he talks about coming back, he had gone and he came back and the girls were missing, and there was a Mexican or an Indian, somebody on the blanket, had the shotgun. He walked up and confronted them, they shot him. And that's all he remembers. And so that was part of the story. Well, they go back out with the sheriff and other people, and they're looking around the area, and what they're seeing is one set of footprints and one set of horse tracks, and those are actually the wagon of Kingsley and the girls.
So that was like their version of DNA forensics.
Yeah, you know, back in the day, they're still learning about this, and so he has a story, and they buy it, and in the newspaper it talks about the story and how they print all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he's being questioned and questioned again and questioned again. He's writing notes because you can't talk. It's summer. He's got to be miserable. It's hot. He's shot. It's really hard to attempt suicide with a shotgun at point blank range.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to miss.
Right.
So there's one element of this whole story that there's an issue with. So he finally goes, I don't care what happens to me. I did it. You know, it's my fault. And so whatever you want to do, go ahead and do. And so he's never really indicted. He's never tried for murder. He never goes into a courtroom. And so as they bring him back into town, they put him in hospital, you know, well, a lynch mob forms. And so he's going to get lynched. And so the sheriff, being the sheriff that he is, good man, I think, overall. He's got a lot of history, too. He brings him here and he hides him up here in the women's tank. Nobody can get to him. There's no way for them to get to the windows and, you know, everything else. And so
there's what, 6 sets of bars between us and the front door?
Yeah. So here he is. They put him on a cot. They have a nurse out in the hallway out here. She puts one light in the cell so she can look in to see what's going on. And so he's safe. And coroner's inquest, she is giving him morphine, okay, for the pain, and he's writing notes. Well, all of a sudden he tells the nurse that the girls came and visited him here. And they basically said, you're going to be joining us real soon.
Really?
And you would think that if you murdered 2 people and they show up at your cell and you're trapped in here, you're going to go, get me the hell out of here, get me out of here.
And he didn't?
No, he didn't. He just said the girls came and they visited and we're going to be joining each other soon. And so there you go. She puts him to sleep. He's okay at about 11:20 in the evening. She checks on him. He's all right. And so the night goes on. Somebody gains access to the courthouse. And they come in through the judge's chambers into his library and into the judge's toilet. It's about 26 feet from his toilet window to ground zero here. And so he waits all night. He smokes cigarettes and cigars, and he waits in the dark. At 4:20 in the morning, you got to realize that in July, now this is July 2nd, I think it was, so into the 3rd of July. It's 4:20 in the morning. There's no first light here at 4:20 in the morning. It's still really, really dark.
Right.
Okay, he's sitting in the dark. So at 4:20 in the morning, he props his rifle up, you know, a 95 Winchester, a real short barrel carbine, props it up on some law books up here, and he waits. And finally at 4:20 in the morning, he takes a shot. Across the alley, through the bars, and Kingsley is sort of propped up, you know, with his, you know, leaning on the side. And so, according to the coroner's inquest, the bullet enters above his right shoulder and exits below his left breast.
So
it's a hunting shot. It's a heart-lung shot.
So this shot comes through a window approximately 20 feet through a set of bars, another window, and a second set of bars, and still manages to hit him.
And still hits him. And of course, you know, 30 caliber bullet. He's asleep, and so he's hit basically with the force of a freight train. And I forget what the muzzle energy is at 26 feet, but it's a lot.
And they never know. They never find out who did it.
Never find out. There was a comment. Okay, so he's laying on the floor and he's basically dying. And of course, the nurse is now rushing in, and everybody's rushing in.
Right.
So about 4:30, 4:35 in the morning, there's a millman across the street at a bar. Just got off work. He's having a drink, you know. And he looks up, and he sees a dark shadow come out of the front doors of the courthouse, down the steps, and disappears into Broad Street. The first morning light, you know.
Wow.
And so our murderer left the rifle and eventually returned the set of keys that were missing from the janitor's closet. They're wrapped up in a newspaper. They end up in the front of the courthouse. And so after over 100 years now, the murder is still unsolved, and there's no statute of limitations. So the murder is still an unsolved murder, cold case.
Well, maybe we'll have to bring him back, whoever it is, back from the dead and charge him. I mean, it needs to happen, certainly.
Yeah, so we have ideas on who maybe pulled the trigger, but we don't know.
And who do you guys think that is?
Well, Wesley Goswick was on his way to the Salt River to Horseshoe Bend, armed to the teeth, and they disarmed him.
Okay.
And brought him back. I don't know.
And was that...
And if I knew, I wouldn't tell you.
You wouldn't tell us?
No, I can't, because after all this time, the best part of a story is the mystery that's involved in it. And if we remove the mystery, then the story loses a lot of its allure and luster.
It's the same way we investigate, right?
Yeah, no, it is.
We come in and we try to uncover the mystery of what's not being told. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
You may get a name.
Yeah, very well might. You know, it's a possibility he saw the shooter, too. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know...
I think he knew it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. You know, there was a lot of ranchers here at the time, and there was a lot of people that knew the Goswicks and respected them. There's a lot of people still here that knew the Goswicks and respect them. You know, one of the things that Wesley did, he was a market hunter. He went out and took out mountain lions and whatever. So yeah, he was a good shot too.
I can't imagine that. I mean, that kind of a shot in that day with that kind of a weapon. I mean, certainly doesn't have the fundamental sighting components that we have today. So, I mean, you had to have somebody who was a heck of a shot.
Yeah, and so, you know, years ago, we set up in the window with a rifle similar to what was described in the coroner's inquest, in the same caliber that was described. And by the way, they found the expended bullet in the blanket, in the bedding.
Wow.
When they moved him and moved the bedding, the round was there. So, yeah, it's just we used a bore sight laser at the same time of the morning, the same time of year, and fired the laser down through the windows into a sleeping Kingsley Olds. And without people sitting here directing the shot and without light on the sights, there's no way I could pull that shot. No problem. Broad daylight, half light, no issue. But in the dark, you can't see the sights.
And you were telling me you're a pretty good shooter, so...
Yeah, I can hit what I'm shooting at most of the time.
So that really speaks volumes about, you know, that angle of a shot. And certainly, I mean, I can see it from here. That's you know, as a veteran, I mean, that's a heck of a shot, so...
Yeah, we took the similar rifle out to the range and set it up on a bench on some books, you know, and fired into a target at the same distance. And, you know, it's pretty easy. If you squeeze the trigger and don't pull it, then you're gonna be able to go into a silver dollar size hole. So
That's crazy.
the best part of a story is the mystery that's involved in it. And if we remove the mystery, then the story loses a lot of its allure and luster.